there. And I try to remember that as much as I'm grateful for living there and growing up there, I don't want to go back. So,
Yeah.
that's a big part of how I keep things in perspective in life from that aspect. But I am forever grateful for Charleroi because it turned me into the human I am.
What's up, everybody? We're back again, Athletic Aesthetic Podcast. I'm with my co-host, my man, Vinnie.
What's up, guys? How we doing today?
I'm Trey Tipton, man. It was a great time today. We had a great interview with a great guy, man. It means a lot to me, my man, Sammy Spina. He's a sports agent in the sports world, and he does a whole bunch of different athletes, but more importantly, he's a great person, a great dad, and a great friend, man. So I'm looking forward to this podcast because, one, he's a near and dear friend of mine, and I get to do it with my man, Vinnie. It's a great time, man.
Yeah, I had a good time. We obviously were about to show you guys the interview that we did with Sammy, and this was my first time actually getting to talk to the guy, and I couldn't be more impressed with like just who he is, what he represents, why he does what he does. So I'm excited for you guys, and I think that you'll get a lot out of this episode if you're an athlete. You'll also get a lot out of this episode if you are somebody maybe from a small town, or you're just not sure what you want to do, but you want to work in sports, or you want to do something a little bit more outside the box with your career. Sammy speaks into that a little bit, how he went from a small town into the role as a major sports agent, which is a really, really unique path. So tune in. This is a great episode. Make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you are listening on whatever app. Make sure you hit the bell notification. Ding. Rate, review, all of those things. We really appreciate you. Follow us on social media at Athletic Aesthetic Pod. Without further ado, this is episode...
Say it again.
40, baby.
40 Glock. 40,
we're almost
40, 40,
at
40.
50.
Yeah.
We're at 40.
We're at 40. It's a big deal, bro. Make it a big deal. Matter of fact, make it such a big deal that you send it to a friend. How about that?
Enjoy.
Run it. But essentially, Sammy, the reason why I wanted you to come on, bro, because you helped me tremendously in my football career during the time that I was playing a little bit. So I wanted to give you a chance to not only be able to reach our audience, but also further reach your audience. So with that said, man, first off, I want to thank you because you didn't give up on me, even though, you know what I'm saying, football ended up coming to an end. So I wanted to thank you for that. But my first question to you is like, what actually brought you to become an agent, man?
Yeah, first off, Trey, I mean, everything you did was because of you, right? Like I played a very small piece in your journey, but everything that you accomplished was all because of what you did, the time that you spent, the hours that you worked, and the belief that you had in yourself. A lot of people could have quit. Like you have one heck of a journey, and I'm sure your viewers know all about your story and just the injuries and the triumphs that you've overcame. And a lot of people would have thrown in the towel a long time ago. So first and foremost, man, like your whole story and what you were able to achieve and where you got to, um, I was just kind of there for the ride, man. That was all you. And I was very blessed to be a part of that. So thank you for allowing me to have a piece of your journey and to still be a big part of your life and you a part of mine. And I'm really grateful for that. So thank you first, Trey. In
Appreciate
terms
that.
of terms of being an agent, man, yeah, I didn't even know it was a job. And Trey, I know we spoke about this before, Vinny. I don't know if you know this, but for me, I never really knew what I wanted to do with life after I got out of college. So I took a 2-year gap in between college and law school. I didn't know I wanted to go to law school either, but I knew that, I resurfaced and looked and tried to figure out what my why was in life. And for me, my why was always serving people and trying to give back in different capacities and help others. So once I figured out my why, I figured, all right, what else am I good at? And I was good at talking and negotiating. So I ended up going to law school, and my sole focus was to be a criminal defense attorney. And I wanted to move back to the Mon Valley. I had a job lined up already with the district attorney's office in Washington County. And I was going to start there and then become a criminal defense attorney after that in the private sector. And I wanted to help my friends and people that I knew from back home that I thought were wrongfully imprisoned or serving a longer sentence than they should have, get out of jail. And that was my whole why behind everything. My first year in law school, God had a different plan for me and introduced me to some of the people that I, still communicate with today. And I was very blessed to find the sports space and again, I didn't know an agent was a job. I thought you had to be a coach or a GM or a player really to make it in that industry. And I found it by actually volunteering at Jason Taylor's foundation. Jason, another Pittsburgh guy, another PA guy, went to Woody High,
Mhm.
in the Pro Football Hall of Fame now. And I always laughed because the first two clients I ever worked with were both Pittsburgh guys that are in the Hall of Fame. So Jason Taylor and Dan Marino. And then I ended up working with another Pittsburgh guy, well, not from Pittsburgh, but played for the Steelers, and Troy Polamalu. And all were just phenomenal human beings. And it's just, it led me into that journey. So to answer your question more directly, Trey, I didn't know I wanted to get into the agent world. I didn't even know it was a job. God put me in that position. I started from the outside in, working with retired guys. And so for me, it became more natural when I started working with active guys to make sure that, hey, I'm not going to be there just for the draft or just for, the first 2 years of your career. But if there's something you need, even you to this day, Trey, you're not playing anymore. If you call me, I'm going to answer the phone and we're going to figure out a solution to whatever you have going on. And if I can't help, hopefully I know someone that can, and we're going to try to make it work.
Appreciate you that. I definitely appreciate that, Sammy, first and foremost, and you know that, man. But I want to pass it over to my man Vinnie and see if he has any questions, because this guy right here, Sammy, I ain't gonna lie, there is nobody in Pittsburgh that has a deeper jersey closet than this guy right here, and I'm talking about deep. There's players that I ain't even heard of that he got.
So I just copped. Maybe I'll wear it on the next episode. I just copped a New York Giants Jason Sehorn jersey.
See, that's what
like that is.
You see what I'm saying, man? So what's a question you might have for Sammy, man?
Dude, I've followed you. We've talked on social media a little bit, but like I personally, don't know you as well as Trey does. But one thing I know about Trey is that like if you get to be, like you said, a part of his journey, like you're fully a part of it, and like you get to be there for the ups and the downs and that. So like my question for you is like, how did you, I guess, first meet Trey? How did you introduce yourself to him? How did that happen? And then what was like your first impression maybe of Trey? And then how did that kind of relationship start to form?
I'm curious.
Yeah. So the way I met Trey was actually, it wasn't through me. So I was with another group before I'm with the agency that I am now, called NeoStar. I was the vice president of that company. Again, we work with mainly retired guys, but we also had a small group of active players. I got offered to come to the agency I'm with now, VMG, as a partner from day one. And as one of the first things I did as a partner was they were introducing me to the guys that they were recruiting for the draft, Trey being one of them. And so, being from Pittsburgh, and I'm a little younger than the rest of my partners, as Trey can attest.
How old are you?
And I'm 33.
Okay.
So Trey and I, they got us on the phone and we just started talking. And honestly, the first, Trey, 3 conversations we had, we never talked about football one time. It was me learning Trey as a person, Trey learning me as a person. I never brought up a football question. I didn't bring up anything about Pitt. Like, yeah, we talked about people that we both knew and stuff like that, and people that I knew from Pitt and those sorts of things. But we weren't talking about football. It was learning Trey as Trey.
This is post ACC championship?
Yeah, this is like right after.
Right after
I ain't
that?
even gonna lie.
Okay.
And that was an experience, man. That was a true experience, bro. Sammy knows, bro, and I ain't trying to make it about me, but I was struggling at that time period, man. Just trying to figure out a way, you know what I mean? My mom just had passed away. I was trying to figure out, like, is this football thing for me, man? And at first, bro, I ain't even gonna lie. You can ask Sammy. I didn't think I was gonna get an opportunity. I just knew that, like, on pro day, I balled out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I knew that I had a pretty decent pro day, and if somebody's gonna give me a chance, then it'd be based off of that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was very thankful for the opportunity. I still think that I was better than a lot of guys out there, but we ain't gonna talk about that. God says stay humble, so I'm gonna stay humble. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I've seen you, in your highlight tape, and I've seen like enough that I know that if you didn't struggle with some of the things like with the injuries and all that, I know that you'd be up there with anybody in the league, man. So.
Crazy, Vinny, because you mentioned that, like, if you didn't have this or you didn't have that, and like I think a lot of us always focus on that part of it, but I think God used Trey in such an amazing way that because of the things that he went through, he's helped so many people. And Trey, I remember those conversations, man. You're like, hey, I'm probably not going to get a shot, Sammy, but I appreciate you at least standing by me. And I was like, look, just keep your head down, focus on what you need to focus, control what you can control. That's what we talked about every day. Trey, control what you can control, get out of your own head, and just focus on getting ready for pro day. Let the rest work itself out. I'm going to be on the phone, X, Y, and Z. And Trey did that. I mean, he did
Yeah.
everything he was supposed to do during the time, and he got an opportunity.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Sammy, and I definitely do. And that's the one thing I don't think a lot of athletes think about is that, like, once you leave college, bro, it's like anything that you do, bro. It's a process. Like, it's a really hard process. Like, you have to go through an extreme amounts of just thinking, like, where am I gonna go? And if I don't get signed, okay, where am I taking my opportunities? Who actually want to give me an opportunity, right? And I feel like there's a lot of college guys out there who don't think about that, right? They don't know that lifestyle. They only know what they see on TV. You see the first 7 rounds. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing that anybody ever focuses on. But you forget about the UDFA, the guys who are undrafted free agents, right?
Yeah.
You forget about the guys who are not even undrafted free agents. They're guys who are just trying to get a chance and a shot. And there's a couple of guys out there, Victor Cruz. There's a boatload of guys who didn't even get drafted but made a successful season. So with that said, man, I know there's kids out there and guys out there that are looking and listening and paying attention, bro. Pay attention to you. You know what I mean? If I learned anything in that process, pay attention to you. Don't look at the outside. The outside don't matter. Because a lot of guys who got drafted, I know Sammy can attest to this, is like you'll see first rounders get out the league in 3 years. You know what I mean? Like it happens, bro. And so it's like your hard work, it'll make sense when the time's right. You know what I mean? And it made sense to me now because I'm not even in football anymore, but I feel like I found my calling through a whole nother realm in which I was in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think to what you said, Sammy, is like spot on. Like Trey would have accomplished great things on or off the field, and I think that we're just scratching the surface, and that's why I'm blessed to have him on this show with me as a co-host and as a brother in life. But I'm always interested to meet the people who were part of Trey's story before I kind of came about. Because, honestly, we're like less than a year out from really when I started to get to know Trey. He didn't become a full-time co-host until February. So it's fun to get to know you a little bit. But I want to learn not just about you and Trey. I want to learn about, he said Mon Valley?
Bro,
Mon Valley kid?
Mon Valley.
Okay, what high school did you go to?
I went to Charleroi.
You went to Charleroi. Okay. So I live in like the Monongahela, Mon Valley area now. And so I this is a unique breed of human being that comes out of that area, bro. And I mean that with all love and respect. But I know I kind of came out of that area and became an artist. I do podcasts for a living. I create and paint shoes. That job just doesn't make sense to a lot of people. What is like Thanksgiving like with you trying to describe like a day of work to your family and to like maybe you have people in your family that are into law and things like that, but like your close network of people in your hometown, do they understand what you do? Do you have to like do a lot of explaining and it's still over their heads? And
Yeah. It's unique growing up there, like you said, man. Like I always joke about it because my wife grew up in Chicago, and whenever she comes back to Charleroi, she's like, "Man, I thought Chicago was rough. Like you have nothing here." She's like,
yeah,
Your grocery store is a Dollar General for crying out loud." And
yes,
it's funny because there really is nothing there, and because of that, sometimes we all become products of our environment, and so it can either bend you and break you, or it can actually mold you into who you are today. I like to think for me, it molded me into who I am today because I don't want to go back there. I don't want to live back there. And I try to remember that as much as I'm grateful for living there and growing up there, I don't want to go back. So,
yeah,
that's a big part of how I keep things in perspective in life from that
mhm,
aspect. But I am forever grateful for Charleroi because it turned me into the human I am. Thanksgiving, it depends because I'm not always home for Thanksgiving. There's football on Thanksgiving.
mhm,
So sometimes I'm at a game and those sorts of things, but trying to describe it, I always tell people there's no 2 days that are the same. Um, any given time, any given opportunity, and Trey knows this from our relationship. I'm usually on an airplane. I would say multiple times a week. I'm on a flight somewhere, staying in a hotel somewhere, either recruiting a new player, doing something with one of our existing players, or even something with one of our retired players just from a support standpoint. Next week I have to fly to Tampa. We're doing a charity event for one of our existing clients who's going to go deliver toys to a children's hospital. So I'm there for that kind of stuff, just to be there with our guys. So it's not just the stuff you see on Sundays where we show up to the game and see our guys pregame, or the movie Jerry Maguire where we're on the phone screaming. Um, a lot of that
Show me the
stuff is
money.
yeah, a lot of that stuff, man, it's glamorized for TV, right? Like Jerry Maguire and ballers and those sorts of things. But it's definitely a grind. I mean, last night I was up working on something and in calls and in meetings until around midnight, and I have a newborn. So, I'm always doing something, and I'm up again, this morning, and I think my first call was at 7 a.m. So, you got to deal with the juggle of having clients on the West Coast and teams on the West Coast where 8 p.m. is a lot later. It's midnight our time, and then vice versa, still being
Right.
up to service those guys that are on the East Coast that wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Man,
sure.
that's extremely difficult, Sammy. Now, you being a sports agent, I need to know, like, what sports did Sammy Spina play when he was in high school? Like, was he a dog? Like, I need to know, man. I need to know.
I was all right. So I wrestled. I played soccer. I actually played 1 year of collegiate soccer as well. Um, but mainly, Trey, all through like college and late high school, I was boxing. And so I fought Golden Gloves. I fought out of a gym in Denora, fought Golden Gloves, went through the whole tournament and everything. And even before that, I did martial arts. And so I grew up in Taekwondo. And fun fact that not everyone knows is, so I won Pennsylvania States like 7 years in a row. I won the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic
Yeah.
um, 3 times, I think it was, and I won a national title as well in martial arts. So that was all pre-boxing, and then I switched over to boxing and fought Golden Gloves. I actually finished runner-up, so I didn't win Golden Gloves, but I finished runner-up,
Silver gloves.
whatever you want to call it.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't messing with Sammy on the street.
Hell no.
As he
no.
say, hey, turn around, dog. Go ahead
Yeah.
and get yourself somewhere else, bro.
Listen,
Go home.
Yeah. Guy named Sammy from the Mon Valley. Nah, bro. I
Nah,
just know just off name, off
You say he's
rip.
from? You say he's from where?
guys
Nah,
are-
I'm good. Yeah, this man's a national champion at whooping ass. Like, I am good.
Professionally.
So answer this, Sammy, and I'm gonna let my man Vinnie ask the last question before anything. Like, what are you most proud of as a sports agent? And I want an experience. I know that you're a very godly man, and God always blesses us in many different ways. But I want an experience that you actually could say, like, you know what, like that did it for me. That made it worth it.
Yeah, that's a good question, Trey. For me, it wasn't about any of the contracts that we've done or somebody getting drafted high. This past year we had top 10 pick, number 6 overall in the draft, and also another kid that went in the 4th round. And those are all amazing achievements, right? Because you get to share those moments with these individuals that are life changing for them. They're getting in life changing money that are really going to change the outcome of their future family. And I love all those moments. I love those celebrations. But the one moment I always turn to was probably my 2nd year as an active agent, not working with just retired guys, but active players. It was actually a pit athlete trade. I won't mention who. It was actually a pit athlete, and I'll never forget it. I was in Houston, Texas at the time. I'm at a hotel, and I get a call from this individual, and I'm walking outside, and they're like, "Hey, man, I just needed to call you to say thank you." And in this industry, you don't hear that often, right? Because it's always, "What have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately?" That's what sports is as a whole, and that's what world is now with social media. What have you done for me lately? And for this particular individual, it wasn't anything crazy I did for them lately. They were an undrafted player that made a team and had some hiccups, and I just never quit on them. Like for me, I'm a loyal guy. So if you're with me from the beginning, I'm with you to the end. And that's just how it's going to be. Like, so if I'm recruiting you out of college, you sign with me. I don't care if you get hurt tomorrow and never play another snap, or you play for 15 years. Like, you're with me for the rest of your life. And that's just how I approach it. And I'm going to help you any way I can. This person, I was helping through that, and they had some ups and downs, and they just said, "Hey, I just want to thank you. You've been the most consistent male figure I've ever had in my life."
Wow.
And hearing that is something I still turn to today. If I'm having a bad day, if it's stressful, whatever, whatever's going on in life, I turn to that, and I'm just forever grateful for that call because it really put life into perspective for me. And it also showed me that this was God's calling and God's plan for my life. And so he's using me in this way to impact and be there for individuals that may never have had that before. So that's the moment, Trey, that I will always look back on.
Man.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, I got goosebumps when you said
Yeah,
that.
bro, that sent me.
I love stuff like that. I love people who use their, you know, their job, their title, their career as a form of, living out their calling. I think people get a little bit too caught up in life. Like even just like you mentioned, me as an artist, it looks glamorous, right? Like
Right.
this week is my cause, my cleats, and
Yep.
there's artists that are putting up all the cleats that they're doing for the athletes, and like it's a really fun, joyous moment of celebration for a lot of people, because I mean I know guys that put out hundreds of cleats this week,
Right.
and I know what goes behind the scenes of that. I know that like it's not a lot of pretty work. It's a lot of like sleepless nights. It's a lot of like quick flips, trips to the FedEx
Right.
to, can you overnight this in time? And like there's a lot that goes into that. And the reason that I bring that up is because you have to have like a deeper why as to what you're doing. Like when the
100%.
burnout hits, if that why, if that calling isn't behind what if you're just doing it for the money, the burnout wins every
Every
single
time.
time, because you realize the money's not enough. So what do you do? Like maybe you said it's few and far between when you get those messages, whatever. What do you do to keep yourself full, in between those, or maybe when things are a little rough patch, or you have a player that's going through some tough time, and like, how do you stay full so you
Right.
could be a positive light for them?
It's a great question, boy.
That's a really, really great question. Vinny, it's simple for me. I pray. My relationship with God is what fills me up. Me going to church and being, the amount that I travel, a lot of times I have to watch service online, but I very rarely miss a service. And I think just anyone walking in their, faith journey in Christianity, like going to church is the bare minimum, right? It's what you do the other 6 days of the week to help you. So for me, it's reading my Bible daily, praying daily. I'll be driving in a car if I'm on an hour road trip. Sometimes I have no music on or anything. I'm just praying out loud while I'm driving. Those little things like that, because we do have bad days, all of us, and it does get tough. And if it was about the money, I would have quit before I even got started. My first two clients, I couldn't afford to do anything for. They lived in my 2-bedroom apartment. I slept on the couch, and they drove my car. So I walked to Starbucks to work every day. If it was about money, I would have quit well before I ever got started, because that was never my end goal, right? My goal was to make my clients as much money as they can. But my goal myself was never to be rich off of my financial gain from that. That's a byproduct of what I
Right.
do. Like I don't chase the dollars for myself. I'd rather help someone. And a lot of times I do a lot of free work too, Vinny, like, where for clients, like even charity events and stuff like this, like I don't get paid for that stuff, and I'm coming out
Mhm.
of pocket to fly there and get a hotel, rental car, all those sorts of things. I don't get paid for that at all. But I think it's important to be a part of the process and help, individuals serve others, especially if they want to do it. And so, yeah, it's prayer. Like that's what it comes down to for me.
It's awesome, man.
Wow, man, I ain't gonna lie, Sammy. You're very inspirational. You always been an inspiration to me, man. And you always motivate me to be a better human, but as well as that, a better man, right? So I thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate you for having you, one. And then on top of that, man, just thank you for just being a great dude, bro. The people out there that do need you. I'm a big believer of people have the opportunity to be a superhero. They just decide not to, right? And I love the fact that you decide every day that you're not there for your own personal gain, right? You're there for the gain of the people who you're actually helping, man. And I want to say, one, kudos to you, man. You're an incredible person. And then two, bro, thank you for jumping on. Any last words, Vinny?
No, man, I want to echo that. I appreciate you and your time today. We had a few technical difficulties, so man, I got to. You could tell who a person is when you get some difficulties on there.
Right,
Like
right.
you're already asking for my time, and now you got some technical issues. Like you were gracious, bro. Like I got that Italian heat in me. I'm like ready to throw my laptop through a wall. So like, no, I appreciate you, man. Like obviously, I wish you nothing but the best moving into the next year, and like all the big things coming up for you guys. I guess the last question that I will throw towards you is, what would you want to say to someone, maybe they're from a small town where like the kind of job that you have is something they didn't even know was on the radar, like yourself? Like, where's somewhere to start? Like, they want to work in sports. Maybe they don't know if they can like make it as an athlete, but they want to stay in sports, and maybe this is a career path for them. What would kind of advice would you give them?
I would say don't limit yourself. When I first started in this industry, like I was told by everyone I was never going to make it, that it's that competitive, that you're never going to get an opportunity. And look, don't get me wrong, get all the information you can, right? Learn as much as you can about it. I learned, like, I read books, I watched interviews for countless hours. I still do. I still read books, I still listen to interviews for countless hours, just trying to soak up as much information as you can, to make the most educated decisions that you can. But never let somebody limit you in that aspect, right? And I think for me, hearing that so often, it could have turned me away from the industry, but instead I had a different mentality from it, and I use it as fuel to my fire. So every time I heard it, I'll just write it down and be like, all right, you'll see one day, you'll see one day. And it wasn't proving them wrong, it was proving me right. So
Mm.
anyone that wants to get into this industry, start with your why. Why do you want to do it? If it's just for money, it's not for you, probably, because most jobs in sports, you're going to be overworked and underpaid at the beginning. And when I say overworked, I'm talking close to 100 hours a week. And when I say underpaid, you may make nothing that year doing it. So make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and then network. Networking is everything. Trey and I talk about this all the time, and Trey knows my saying. It's not about who you know; it's about who knows you. So put yourself out there, be in the rooms, figure out a way to get there. If you don't know someone, figure out a way to meet someone, and get in those rooms, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. At the end of the day, like, having somebody vouch for you goes much further than just what's on a sheet of paper. If you're an honor student in straight A's, X, Y, and Z, that's great. But in the real world, it's about who you know and who knows you. So get out
Mm.
there and put yourself out there.
I love that, Sammy. Well, we appreciate you, boss, man. We're gonna let you get back to that beautiful baby you just had, man.
Congrats, man.
Congratulations,
Appreciate it.
bro.
Thank you.
100%, bro. I'm more than happy for you and sis, man. I know y'all are extremely ecstatic. I know you're not sleeping much though, so you know what I mean. You gotta take the time to get as much rest as you can, man. We appreciate you. Yeah.
Likewise. Thank you guys so much for everything, and keep inspiring people too, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We'll
Yes,
get
sir.
you in the studio next time you're in Pittsburgh.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody. You got to see the interview. I know that you enjoyed it because I enjoyed it. Vinny, I want to know how you felt about the interview as a whole.
Dude, felt great. Sammy's awesome, like we said. And it's just really cool to see people in your life that came along a little bit before me, and like kind of how you got to where you are, because you're this mysterious dude, bro. Like, you've been through like 25 different lives, and like all these different people have helped shape you at different, parts of that journey. So it's cool to see Sammy and connect some more dots there, and figure out who Trey Tipton is. I feel like I get to like interview you through like you bringing your guests on the show, because I get to like learn different dynamics. So
Right.
It's always fun for me. Bro, he was talking about his faith a lot, right?
100%.
And I know that that's something we've talked about on the show. And dude, the more we lean into like the faith aspect, the more doors I feel like have unlocked for us on this
100%.
show. And so definitely thank you to Sammy for bringing up the importance of that in his life and his faith. But you know me, bro, like my mind kind of sometimes wanders.
Yeah, always.
And I was wondering, like, Sammy being like, he helps people get drafted. Okay, if Jesus and his disciples were to just like start a franchise,
Okay, let's talk.
like, what's their record?
A guaranteed Super Bowl win and undefeated.
I don't know.
I'm thinking, bro, the man can walk on water.
Yeah, but like,
Who's stopping that?
bro, they got a ton of locker room issues. Judas is out here selling out Jesus.
Hold on. But Judas could be Antonio Brown.
Yeah, and the Steelers have 0 rings during the
But
AD
you
era.
still got Jesus. Hold on. Okay. So did Tom Brady win with Antonio Brown? Did he win a Super Bowl? I believe he did.
So Tom Brady's Jesus, and this is Athletic Aesthetic.
And we love you.
Is that really how we're gonna end the show?
Nah, we can't end like that. Run that back. Nah, seriously though, if it really came down to it, I'm thinking they're going 18-0 and they're winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not
What
question.
division are they in? In the AFC.
Yeah,
North?
AFC
Just like,
North. Yeah,
running the ball heavy.
yeah. But who's the receivers though?
Well, Jesus' brother was a disciple,
Okay,
so they probably know each other.
chemistry.
What was the one dude they called, like Doubting Thomas?
Mm.
Is that like his nickname? Because like there's like one thing in the scripture where he doubts Jesus or something. I don't even know. But like, yeah, he's probably a liability, honestly.
So he's probably going to be like right now in the NFL, probably a running back.
Is Peter at the gates, right? Peter's chilling at the gates because he's definitely a left guard.
Yes. Peter's the left guard. Who's
Yeah.
your okay, so who's your
the
tackle?
coach?
Who's the coach? I mean,
God.
come on, bro. That's why they're not going to lose.
Yeah. Where are we going with this?
Big God up there, you know what I mean?
I regret asking this question.
I don't know why you did, but I'm be honest with you. I'm just letting you know they're going 18-0, and I really don't see anybody beating them. I'm being so serious. If a man walks on water, what are you supposed to do with that? Every ball is a guarantee
Yeah, but
accuracy.
are they beating?
Bro, I got issues betting against LeBron, and you think I'm about to bet against Jesus?
Are you
Are they,
tripping?
are, they are we? I mean, put them up against the 2019 LSU team, though.
I'm telling you, not even Joey. Listen, Joey Burrow could not save himself against Jesus. I'm telling you. You telling me the man who walked on water, the man that made the people who were blind be able to see.
Mm-hmm.
You think somebody's beating them?
I don't think Jesus cares about sports.
Probably doesn't. But you asked the question. If he was on,
I know, but I'm saying like I don't think he'd use his abilities to like win a game.
He don't play to lose, though.
Like, did you ever see Jesus lose anything?
I mean, he was comeback player of the year for sure. That's why.
Hey, yeah, definitely the comeback player of the year. I ain't gonna lie, because he ain't just come back. This boy was grittying on everybody. I ain't gonna lie. He told everybody, I'm coming back, and when I come back, best believe, it's all me. You feel me? And hey,
Yeah.
that's why I'm a
Bro,
follower to
imagine
this
that
day.
pregame prayer in the locker room. Our Father, you who art in heaven.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you.
theme music.
Hey,
Just Deion's the coach.
hey, I ain't gonna lie, bruh. I would not want to see that team ever. Because I feel like God's going to give them some type of superpower that we just don't know about.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that's as far as, honestly, I think my brain can comprehend that.
Yeah,
topic,
I'm not
but,
going to lie.
let us know. What do you think Jesus and his disciples would go in a
They're definitely winning the AFC North.
17-game season? And yeah, what
Jesus is beating Lamar Jackson, Kenny Pickett, Joe Burrow. He's
Listen.
beating all them, bro.
And listen, with the hair flow and everything, looking like Trevor Lawrence. Like,
are we sure Troy Polamalu wasn't Jesus?
cut this goddamn episode. Nah, Frodo, great episode. We had a great time. Reality is, ain't nobody stopping Jesus. I'm just keeping it real. And then on top of that, man, I had a great time. Not only did I have a great time, bro, I love that we're doing this, bro. I think that we're actually starting to find our way. You know what I mean? Like that, what's our niche? We kill it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, great episode. Thanks for doing this. Also, one more thing. Playbook's just nothing but Hail Marys.
Hail Marys. All right.
Thank you guys for watching the podcast. This is episode 40 of Athletic Aesthetic, and
We love you.